When looking at the series known as Jujutsu Kaisen, the monsters that are generally perceived to be in the series are the cursed spirits who plague the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, with the Jujutsu sorcerers being the benevolent, good side of this world. But at the pinnacle of the Jujutsu sorcerer world stands Gojo Satoru, the strongest shaman and arguably the strongest character in Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole. And a title that should be added to Gojo's name is the title of the real monster of Jujutsu Kaisen. More of a monster than Jogo, more of a monster than Ryomen Sukuna, and even more of a monster than Mahito himself. Gojo stands atop the list of monsters in Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, when making a claim as large as Gojo Satoru being a greater monster than some of the main antagonists of the series, you need some serious, substantial evidence and reasoning to back that up. And when it comes to Gojo, there is plenty to choose from. Since birth, Gojo Satoru has been one who has had a massive amount of influence on the Jujutsu sorcerer world. Gojo's birth is so important to the Jujutsu Kaisen universe that Gege Akutami considered it necessary to start off a chapter in the manga with Gojo's birth, calling it an incident with the words, "Gojo bursts onto the scene." Gojo's birth has been stated to be the sole cause of the rapid increase of cursed spirits, both in number and in power. It is verbatim stated that Gojo is monstrous in power and that his mere birth, just Gojo entering this plane of existence, had altered the world's general balance. This will be relevant later on in the video, but keep in mind that Gojo's impact on the series, just as a mere baby, is already greater than that of any characters in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, curse, shaman, or otherwise. This on its own, however, is not enough to substantiate the claim of Gojo being the greatest monster in Jujutsu Kaisen, so let's push forward even more in the Jujutsu Kaisen world to see exactly why Gojo is so monstrous. In chapter 22 of the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, Nanami has his first encounter and battle with the cursed spirit known as Mahito. And during this encounter, Nanami makes a very interesting comment about Mahito's demeanor that sparked some interest in me when doing research for Gojo's monster-like qualities. They were like an almost textbook superficiality, and beyond that, deep, dark strength. Now, when taking in this statement in a vacuum, this doesn't inherently mean that Gojo Satoru is similar to the serial killer Mahito. At best, you could argue all it means is that they have a relatively similar demeanor when they're in battle, but when taken with the context of cursed energy and how the power system works in Jujutsu Kaisen, you can see exactly why it makes perfect sense for Gojo and Mahito to have similar demeanors. For all of you that aren't aware, cursed energy production is reliant on negative emotions. The more negative emotions, the more energy is produced. The only caveat to this statement is that these negative emotions must be channeled properly in order to maximize the efficiency of this cursed energy. In layman's terms, if you are able to, at a moment's notice, produce a massive amount of raw, negative emotions, all while maintaining a cool, collected, and calm head, you have the makings of a force to be reckoned with. And who are some of the most aloof, carefree characters in Jujutsu Kaisen? Mahito, Sukuna, and most important to the point of this video, Gojo Satoru himself. In all of these instances, the characters that are able to maintain a complete state of calmness, even in the face of death and danger, are the ones who are determined to be the strongest by cursed energy. Is it a coincidence then that Gojo Satoru happens to share similar qualities of aloofness and general calmness with the King of Curses himself and Mahito? Two of the greatest, most evil antagonists in the series? No, of course it isn't. For all of you that may not have drawn the conclusion I've been alluding to is the very core of what being strong in Jujutsu Kaisen requires. Insanity. Just as Gojo Satoru said to Megumi very early in Jujutsu Kaisen, you have to be crazy to make it in the sorcerer world long. More specifically, you have to be a sociopath. Sociopaths, for all of those unaware, are people who have distinctly weak consciences and are not really ones who is bound by general moral ideas such as good and evil. Although sociopaths may understand what good and bad are in the eyes of society, at a basic level, they simply do not care and have a lack of empathy in general to the people around them. This fits perfectly with the nature of cursed energy. The perfect type of person to use a power system that relies on calmly manipulating emotions is none other than a sociopath, which Mahito, Sukuna, and especially Gojo would fall under. Now, Gojo most likely wasn't born with a complete set of sociopathic tendencies. Although it would make sense for him to be less detached from other weaker people due to his natural strength and talent for anything sorcerer related, we do see in the flashback arc relating to Gojo that he does have some semblance emotions for friends, for allies, and for teachers before his encounter with Toji Zenin. Forced to the brink of death in that fight and beyond, we see that in order to survive his off-guard encounter, Gojo Satoru dives into the realm that lies beyond humanity and steps into the realms of curses, who are beings purely constructed and manipulative of cursed energy. By using a reverse curse technique, Gojo was able to bring himself back from the brink from several stab wounds to the head, neck, and body, enough to kill just about any regular human being. But Gojo is no human being. Like I've been alluding to, he's a monster. And just like a cursed spirit, Gojo was able to regenerate from these excessive wounds. And funnily enough, after this sort of evolution, we get a pretty interesting quote that shows off his sociopathic tendencies growing at a rate that may even surprise him. "I'm really sorry, Amanai. I'm not angry on your behalf. I don't hate anyone. All I'm feeling right now is the pleasantness of this world." Now, keep in mind, the person he is referencing died. This was someone who he was supposed to protect. A mere high school girl died because of his lack of awareness and strength, and he genuinely cannot produce feelings of anger or hatred towards her killer when he is standing right in front of him. Gojo goes round 2 with Toji Zenin, not out of a sense of empathy or rage or revenge for Toji or for Amanai, for the girl that he was supposed to protect. Gojo goes round 2 with Toji Zenin because in their first round he lost. Gojo, as the strongest, has something to prove now. Gojo has to win to take that title back. Gojo is a sociopath, plain and simple. It's just a fact of the matter. But even Mahito is a sociopath based off his lack of consistent moral compasses and his lack of genuine empathy towards anyone around him. So, what is it that elevates Gojo that one tier above Mahito? What is the final nail in the coffin that places Gojo as a definitive, true monster of Jujutsu Kaisen? Well, good viewer, it's always a good idea to see someone's true character when they're cornered. So let's take a look at the differences between Mahito and Gojo when their lives are endangered. Let's first take a look at Mahito. After Todo and Yuji gave Mahito a massive beatdown and Yuji collides his fist into Mahito's body with a black flash enhanced attack, Mahito is brought to the brink. He is out of cursed energy. He is too damaged to repair himself. And his natural enemy, Yuji Itadori, has just hit his soul with black flash enhanced attacks. Mahito is on his last legs. And just like mere prey, Mahito turns tail and runs away with Yuji Itadori in hot pursuit. Fear in his eyes and terror in his heart, Mahito lies at the mercy of Yuji. To directly compare to Gojo, let's look at 2 separate instances where Gojo has been near death. The first encounter comes from someone who I mentioned earlier, Toji Zenin, who, well, to say the least, maimed Gojo and even stabbed his brain as well as stabbing his body dozens of times. In this situation, where death was almost a certainty, Gojo gave up on resisting and decided to pour his heart and soul into mastering a reversed curse technique. In true monstrous fashion, Gojo picks the most risky, yet strangely logical strategy without so much as a visible hint of doubt in his own abilities and talent. And lo and behold, he survives. And in the more recent instance of Gojo putting his life in danger, we see that Gojo has been sealed. And in the moment that he was sealed, the moment that he was presented with many different ideas and mysteries that he had to process simultaneously while surprised and off-guarded, he was sealed completely without fear or doubt. And he places his fate, the fate of the world and his own fate, on weaker sorcerers. And this right here shows a fundamental difference between Gojo and every other person in Jujutsu Kaisen. Everyone else in the series adapts to and evolves in order to manipulate and master the power system known as cursed energy. While Gojo Satoru, well, he was born to use cursed energy. A monster who upset the balance of the world with his mere birth. Gojo Satoru is one who decides fate with his presence. That is all I have for you guys today. Gojo Satoru is a monster in the literal sense that he can quite literally body post basically anybody in the verse, but also in the sense of his mentality and his, psychology. But that's it. In any case, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell because I have dozens of more videos of this type and this quality in the pipeline ready to be put out for you guys. Hope you guys did enjoy, and links to similar videos will be down in the description below. As well as, I'd appreciate it if you guys can give me some feedback on this video if you enjoyed the style of editing and everything that I went through in order to make this. If there are some changes and tweaks you would like to see, let me know because I'm constantly trying to improve the content. But in any case, this is Broken Ronin, signing off.